Hi there, we're here with our very first Ask Jason Roberts question. And this question comes from Amy. It says, Jason, I like hearing you on star1079.com. Here's my question. Sometimes when driving through downtown, Columbus's Star 107.9 would fade out. And when I've talked to others, they told me that Star had a weak signal. Was there anything the station could have done to get a better signal? More antennas, different location, more power, or more money? Well, Amy, first of all, thank you very much for your question, and I'm glad to know that you still enjoy hearing me on star1079.com. The answer to your question involves a little bit of radio engineering, and I promise I'll try not to be too technical here. The Federal Communications Commission is the governing body that licenses all of the FM broadcast stations in America. There are 4 different classes of FM stations, each differing in the amount of power that they're allowed to broadcast with and how high you can put their antennas. The FCC determines if a station can fit in a municipality by looking at engineering studies which determine if a station can be placed in a location without creating interference to other stations. And that's actually the problem here. You see, Star 107.9, the radio station, was and still is today what's called a Class A FM station. It might sound good to you, but by FCC definition, a Class A is actually one of the smaller broadcast stations. A Class A station is limited to a maximum of 6,000 watts of power with an antenna no higher than about 325 feet. A station like this is good for coverage of about 15 to 20 miles, with the best signal being closest to the tower and lesser coverage the farther out from the tower that you get. Now, Star 107.9 was licensed not to Columbus, but to Delaware, Ohio. Its tower is about 8 miles north of the intersection of I-71 and I-270 on the north side of town. It was actually moved about 1.5 miles closer to Columbus about a year before we flipped the station to the 80s format. Unfortunately, that's about as close to the city as you can get. Why? There's another Class A radio station 400 megacycles down the band, Power 107.5. Its tower is on the top of the Borden building in downtown Columbus. If Star were to move its tower any closer or increase its power, it would interfere with Power 107.5, and that's a no-no as far as the FCC is concerned. So unfortunately, we could never move the station. Had it been a question of dollars, I'm sure the Associated Group, who was owner of the station at the time that I was hired and that we flipped the format to 80s, I'm sure they would have done it already. Amy, thanks for the question, and you keep listening.